So welcome everybody to the Law of Creation of Energy demonstration. So this is not a technology demonstration, despite what some people would like to believe. This is a demonstration of three new laws of physics that potential difference has formulated in order to explain the RegenX generator and RegenX water motor that I'm going to be demonstrating here today. So the technology is the platform which validates the new laws of physics. So the law of creation of energy displaces the law of conservation of energy, but only in its application in electrodynamic systems. So motors, generators, and transformers. Okay, the law of conservation of energy applies in purely Newtonian mechanics systems, but it does not apply, nor has it ever applied, in electrodynamic systems because of magnetic field energy. And I'm just going to introduce you to the three laws of physics, and then the law of creation of energy is not new. The law of creation of energy was actually discovered in 1820 by Hans Christian Ørsted, but he didn't know what he was observing when he observed it. It was expanded upon by Michael Faraday, and he didn't know what he was seeing. Emil Lenz formulated Lenz's law in 1834, and he didn't know what he was seeing. And for the past 201 years, the world scientific community has been drinking the law of conservation of energy Kool-Aid, and they haven't been able to, because of that, they haven't been able to
see outside the box.
See what we're seeing.
Right.
And the reason that we're seeing what we're seeing is because of the RegenX generator discovery, which was discovered in 2007, validated at MIT. The backing theory for all of this was developed in the Power Lab at Ottawa. Of course, you attended Ottawa. So in order to explain the anomaly that we're going to be demonstrating here today, the existing laws of physics can't be used because they don't apply. So the law of creation of energy states that energy is created at the subatomic quantum electron level when a charged particle, that's an electron, which creates an electric field, is caused to move in a current carrying conductor by an electromotive force, a voltage. The moving charged particle creates electromagnetic field energy, which is then externalized around the conductor. Energy is defined as the capacity for doing work. So what we're going to be showing today is we're going to be showing work that's being performed in the absence of externally supplied input power. Okay? So when we see work being performed, we have to ask the question, where's the energy coming from in order to perform that work? And if we can't identify an external source, then there must be an internal source. Okay? So this created quantum photon energy performs negative work, system kinetic energy reduction in all electric generators at infinite efficiency, known colloquially as of braking or generator armature reaction. So I'm going to introduce generator armature reaction in a second. So the work energy principle states that in order to increase the kinetic energy of a body or system, you need energy. So, and the increase in kinetic energy of a body or system, the increase in kinetic energy is equal to the net work performed on that body or system. So, if I wanted to take Richard, for example, and take him and accelerate him up to 100 kilometers an hour, I have to apply a certain amount of positive energy in order to do that. And equally, if you're traveling at 100 kilometers an hour and I want to stop you, I have to, down to zero, I want to reduce your kinetic energy to zero. I have to apply the same amount of energy to stop you as I did to accelerate you, okay? You can't have negative work, kinetic energy reduction, and positive work, kinetic energy increase, both require energy, okay? So what we're going to be demonstrating here is we're going to be demonstrating conventional generator operation, where negative work is being performed by subatomic electron energy, and we're going to be demonstrating positive work that is being performed with the exact same energy, because and we're going to see positive work being performed. So this created quantum photon energy now has the ability to perform positive work, system kinetic energy increase in Regenex generators and Regenex quantum motors, also at infinite efficiency when the load current is delayed in the time domain. And we're going to show that with this oscilloscope. So the second law of physics that we're introducing today is Heinz's law of induction. And this displaces Lenz's law of induction. According to Faraday's law of induction, whenever a voltage is generated in a Regenex generator coil, in a closed circuit, and a time-delayed current is caused to flow in that circuit, the direction of the induced and time-delayed current has a definite relation to the variation and direction of the electromagnetic field energy created around it. This relation is formalized in a law of physics called Heinz's law of induction, which may be stated as an induced voltage, electromotive force, will cause a time-delayed current to flow in a closed circuit in such a direction that the effect of the created electromagnetic field energy will perform positive work. And you're going to see that three different ways here today. In assisting the change that produced it, i.e. increasing its kinetic energy at infinite efficiency. And we're increasing the kinetic energy of the system, but we are not increasing the input energy to the system. In fact, we're reducing the input energy to the system. So Lenz's law, which is the law of physics that's currently on the books, which is essentially Newton's third law. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Lenz's law currently says an induced voltage electromotive force will cause an instantaneous current to flow in a closed circuit in such a direction that the effect of the created electromagnetic field energy will perform negative work in resisting the change that produced it, i.e. decreasing its kinetic energy, i.e. performing negative work, decreasing the kinetic energy at infinite efficiency. So in conventional generators, negative work is being performed at infinite efficiency with energy that's being created at the subatomic quantum level. And when that energy energy is delayed in the time domain, now it can be used to perform positive work. And Heinz's fourth law of motion for electromechanical systems states that for every action, there's an equal and complementary reaction when the reaction is delayed sufficiently in the time domain. So this is Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's no provision in Newton's third law for a delayed reaction, otherwise my hand would be inside the table before the table reacted on my hand. So, I'm going to give this to Dal. And the reason that I specifically wanted you here today is because some people believe, and not everybody believes, but some people believe that there are forces that exist in our world that believe that the world population is too big and that steps need to be taken in order to reduce or cull the population. Now, that has to, and global warming is an issue, and so on and so on. The law of creation of energy is the antidote for the people that believe that the population needs to be culled, and the people that believe that global warming is going to destroy the planet, and the people that believe that we need a third world war in order to secure the dwindling energy resources. Okay? All of those current beliefs are out the window when you understand that energy can be created. Now, previous to these innovations, energy was being created, but it was performing negative work. So, it wasn't obvious. When you see positive work being performed, which you're going to see here today in 3 different ways, then you have to say, okay, what's making that thing accelerate? So Dal, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Just hold that compass flat. Now what I want you to do is I want you to move the compass needle, okay? But you're not allowed to use any energy when you do it. Is it possible? It's not possible. It's not possible to change the kinetic energy of the compass needle, which is currently 0. It's not possible to change the kinetic energy of that compass needle without energy. Okay? So, what happened in 1820, Hans Christian Ørsted had, beside this compass needle, a wire, which was connected to a battery, and he created a closed circuit. Okay? So, when he ran current through the wire, the kinetic energy of the compass needle changed. The kinetic energy of the compass needle, which was 0, became something greater than 0, which caused the compass needle to move. Okay? Now, at that time, that was the relationship between, that was the genesis of the relationship between magnetism, electricity, and electromagnetism. And they weren't able to connect the dots at that time and label the magnetic field that's being created as a source of energy, which is moving the compass needle. They didn't have the awareness to make that connection. And at that time, Newtonian mechanics was the law of the land. So, electromechanics, electrodynamics, was placed under the umbrella of Newtonian mechanics in about 1820, and that's where it's been ever since. And that's why, if you read law, Lenz's law is Newton's third law, okay? A voltage will cause a current to flow in a closed circuit so that the magnetic field created will resist the change that produces it, okay? But that's a surface definition because you have to say, well, what is resistance? It's electromagnetic resistance. It's actually electromagnetic work. It's negative work that's being performed. Lenz's law, which was formulated in 1834, actually is describing the fact that energy is being created because it's performing negative work. But again, in 1834, they didn't know about the work-energy principle as we do today, and they weren't able to connect the dots. Now, that existed right up until 2007 when the first Regenex generator was built, and the Regenex generator, when it's placed on load, it accelerates. Okay, so the accepted premise was that generators are supposed to decelerate when they're placed on load, not accelerate. Okay, now that changes the whole ball game when the generator is accelerating under load, and again you're going to see that 3 times here. So, do you mind being on video? Are you okay? Or Richard can. He can afford to get fired. He doesn't care. You want to come up? Yep. You don't want to get fired? You want to get fired?
I don't mind.
Okay.
As long as there's a nice border.
So what I want you to do, this is a DC generator, and what Richard's going to do is he's going to turn this generator in the clockwise direction. Richard's going to be the prime mover, okay? And what I want you to do is, I want you to try to turn it at a steady pace, okay? So you're establishing the kinetic energy that the system is going to operate on, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the generator coils. I'm going to create a closed circuit. Current's going to flow. You're going to experience negative work being performed by what? Okay? There has to, so when you feel the negative work, you have to say to yourself, what's the energy source that's reducing my kinetic energy? Okay? So get it started. Keep it going, keep it going. Now you have to keep it going after I connect the thing, okay? But you're not allowed to use any extra energy. Okay, ready? Yeah. Okay, it's almost impossible to turn, right? Yeah. Okay, so what's happening, is the magnetic field energy that's created around the current-bearing wires, around the coils, that magnetic field energy is performing negative work because it's reducing the kinetic energy of the system. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so go sit down. So, the difference between a conventional generator and a Regenex generator is that the current that's flowing in the coil is being delayed in the time domain. So if Richard was a football player and he was rushing towards me, I was a defensive lineman, he's an offensive lineman. If I wanted to stop him, I would have to apply a fair amount of energy, okay? However, if I was smart and I got out of the way and I delayed my reaction, my equal and opposite reaction, and I waited till he was here, and I used my energy to accelerate him, that's a delayed reaction. That's what you're going to see here, here, and here. A delayed reaction in the time domain that accelerates the change that's producing it rather than decelerating it, okay? Positive work versus negative work.
What's that delay in microseconds or?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Save your questions till after, otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first prototype is this prototype here. This prototype has a conventional coil. Oh, sorry, yeah, start.